hands of the Central Regional Governor. And Cameroonians have been challenged to cultivate a more responsible action towards wetlands to preserve a healthy environment. This as Cameroon joined the rest of the world today to commemorate Wetlands Day. And negotiations for Kyiv and Moscow are holding talks, but expectations are not high. Before the meeting, Ukraine's president urged Russian troops to lay down their weapons and called for immediate EU membership. Those were major stories. Details right ahead. Good evening once more. School authorities have been urged to heighten security on campus in order to avoid the presence of harmful objects in and around the school milieu. Before the press this Monday, the senior divisional officer for Wuri gave updates of the young exile who was tortured in school by his teacher. More on the story with our reporter, Saleh Sharifa.
Il est vivant, il est vivant. L'enfant, il est vivant, il est même à l'école en ce moment.
Before the press this Monday, February 28, the senior divisional officer for Wuri, Benjamin Butsu, gave updates about the condition of the young Kemoni Isaac, the Class 6 pupil who was badly tortured in a viral video. According to the senior administrator, the 9-year-old boy of the group Scolaire Bilingue La Laureate Bilongue is in good health.
When you go to Liberman or to Lycée Jos, you cannot see this aspect of things because we have the discipline and the respect of the rules, and we cannot accept that inside of the school, inside of the establishment. At
the meeting with the media, the senior divisional officer added, investigations have been launched to track down teachers who shall maltreat pupils and students in school milieu.
When the Minister of Basic Education came tomorrow, we can take another measures who can be to discourage, to that disappointed this acts, and I think that we cannot have again to see the terrorism. I think it is a terrorism act, and it is not better to see it.
School authorities have been urged to heighten security measures on campus in order to avoid presence of harmful objects in schools. The perpetrator of the violent acts, Gamje Brice, is still under police custody with the school director. In the meantime, the presence of the Minister of Basic Education is expected as pressure mounts for justice to be done for the young boy.
Wounded victims of the Olembe stampede have started receiving their presidential financial assistance of 100,000 francs CFA each out of 47 victims. 20 received the compensation this Monday from the hands of the Central Regional Governor. Utmu Kusumi completes that story.
100,000 francs is the amount received by each wounded victim of the Olembe stampede. The cash handed to the persons and families this February 28 in Yaoundé by Nasir Paul Beya on behalf of the head of state. According to the Central Regional Boss, it's just a means of helping the families after a first hospital treatment covered by the state. Though the victims say thank you to the presidential gesture, they express this satisfaction.
Disons qu'on ne peut pas cracher dessus. Et nous avons quand même fait des dépenses énormes.
20 persons received today is a continuation of a process that started in February 25th. That is 10 million francs CFA handed to the deceased families.
And Cameroonians have been challenged to cultivate a more responsible action towards wetlands to preserve a healthy environment. This as Cameroon joined the race of the world today to commemorate a wetland day. This February 28th, Hyacinth completes that story.
Man's activity towards wetlands in Cameroon are said to be very unfriendly, bringing about lots of environmental problems and a threat to human life.
Wetlands today are threatened by anthropogenic activities, that is, human activities. I'll take an example, a simple example. Around the coastal areas in Cameroon, around the wetland areas in Cameroon, you have overfishing, which is one of an activity that actually deteriorates the quantity of fish present in the wetlands, which are actually a service provided by the wetlands. So most of the activities that are done by humans are actually the ones that are responsible for the deterioration of wetlands in Cameroon.
Joining the international community this February 28 to commemorate the World Wetlands Day, the Minister of Environment, Protection of Nature and Sustainable Development, Hele Pierre, challenged each Cameroonian to contribute little efforts in the preservation and management of wetlands.
Our action is about conservation wetland, you know. So conservation is our duty.
The call for the population to refrain from risky marshy areas that can cause heavy catastrophe.
A simple thing to do today is like clean up all the streams, clean up all the rivers, clean up all water features around you, collect the garbage in these water features and dump them in areas that are actually dedicated for.
The government communication at the amphitheater of the National School of Administration and Magistracy, ENAM, was an occasion to urge the students to serve as ambassadors of environmental protection and the fight against climate change.
Patients in need of a scanning machine can now heave a sigh of relief following the inauguration of a CT scanner by the Minister of Public Health, Manauda Manaki. Even before the official ceremony, the new machine had already done over 200 scans in slightly over a month. More on that story with our reporter, Seraphine Chin.
Your Excellency, it's a great delight and honor.
Estimated to cost the sum of 300 million francs, a new CT scanner has been inaugurated at the Imaging Center of the Bamenda Regional Hospital on Friday by the Minister of Public Health after a complete year of no CT scan service owing to the breakdown of the old machine.
Just from the 16th of January to the 24th of February, we have already done 211 CT scans with the brand new machine. And this brand new machine is far more performant than the former.
Visiting Dr. Manauda Malachi, accompanied by the World Health representative to Cameroon, meandered through some admission wards to get to the newly constructed isolation ward for COVID-19 patients. The renovated ward for reanimation and the emergency center at the regional delegation, all sponsored by the World Health Organization, not leaving out a brief stopover at the hemodialysis center where all the machines are now functional.
1,920 deaths and 116,000 recoveries. That represents 98% of recoveries. 1,066,951 people have received at least one dose of COVID-19 vaccine.
Later clad in traditional regalia, the health boss summarizes his one-day sojourn in Bamenda.
The first to aim of my visit is to see the technical our health care. So we have inaugurated the scanner, we have inaugurated the hemodialysis center, the solution center, and other infrastructure. But I think the individual on this and the individual are going to do more than this.
The minister has promised blue skies for COVID-19 workers, but those of other projects and programs like performance-based financing are also expecting their salary arrears will be cleared. But as son of a pastor, Manauda Malachi has prayed for the quick return of peace to the Northwest region.
And the How Commit 3 Custom Service in Garua in the north region of Cameroon has seized 50 tons of non-biodegradable plastic bags which were smuggled into the country of recent. Those behind the illegal activities are currently behind bars for more investigations. More on the story with our reporter, Seraphine Chi.
About 6 tons of non-biodegradable plastics have been seized during an operation launched by Harkomi Zone 3 in Garua. Despite prohibition by the custom, these products are still being smuggled into the country. We work on inquiries. As you can see, we have been working all night just to track him down. Tireless efforts put in place led to the tracking of this truck loaded with 50 tons of prohibited products considered to be unsuitable for public consumption.
Plastic non-biodegradable.
About non-biodegradable plastic packaging, they have 2 faults. The first fault is that they are smuggled, which means that they have not been registered. The second fault is that these goods are prohibited and said to be harmful to the society. So just stop importing these things. Cameroonian Customs Service say they will stop at nothing to ensure that goods infiltrating the country are legible for public consumption and unharmful to the environment.
Renowned lawyer Tumfor barrister Nico Hale has celebrated his Lifetime Achievement Awards over the weekend. The venerated peace crusader launched a book which chronicles more than 160 awards which he has received for promoting peace, justice and good governance in Cameroon and beyond. The highly animated event witnessed the presence of top diplomatic personalities, traditional rulers and religious authorities. More on the story with our reporter, Regina Leketadak.
We are celebrating the giver. I don't celebrate the gift, I celebrate the giver. Without God, I am nothing.
A heart filled with gratitude, Tumfor barrister Nico Hale pays allegiance to God as he celebrates a Lifetime of Achievement Awards. From heads of diplomatic missions to traditional rulers, church leaders, administrative authorities, and before a vibrant press. In Douala on February 25th, the International Peace Crusader launched the journey through Tumfor barrister Nico Hale Award Gallery, a book comprising of more than 160 awards. But first, benedictions from Douala's Archbishop, His Grace Samuel Kleda.
Nous te prions humblement pour celui que tu as soutenu dans ta bonté. Protège-le.
The 102-page award gallery, compiled by Tenant Lucas Chefo and annotated by Nguyen Obet, chronicles awards the 65-year-old has received throughout his lifetime for promoting peace, good governance, justice, and the rule of law. To the president of the Nico Hale law firm, it's been God all through.
I thank God for His grace, His mercy, His love, His strength, His wisdom. All of that package has propelled me into doing what all of you admire, humanity admires, for the entire nation and beyond. And so I'm celebrating God's grace today.
An ardent promoter of culture, the father of 4, was given the title of Ntumfor by Northwest Funds.
Tumfor barrister Nico Hale is a down-to-earth somebody, a person with a lovely heart, a person with the fear of God, a person whose attitude attracts, is very, very magnetic to everybody. And it's because of all of these salient qualities that the Funds of the Northwest decided to honor him with the title of Tumfor.
Young people were urged to follow in his footsteps.
We have Nico in his lifetime who has left great amount of footprints for youngsters to follow. So I wish you all the very best, long life, many more accomplishments.
65 and still kicking, the member of the Cameroon Bilingualism Committee says he isn't slowing down anytime soon but rather he would be doubling his efforts to promote peace amid a crisis-rocking nation.
And that report by Regina Leketanda brings us to the end of this edition of Newscast on Canal the International. Thanks so much for watching. We have news in the French language at exactly this 9h50 with Alain Gislain Kanga. I will be back same time tomorrow. Good night.